So this is part 2 to the last video that I just posted. Make sure to go back and listen to that. We're going a little bit deeper. Okay, we're going a little bit deeper. And it's in context of 3D versus 5D. Old Earth, New Earth. So our lower self is comprised of the old earth. Our higher self is comprised of the new earth, new heaven, which we know God speaks about all things being new, old things passing away, all things will be new. He also says that I am doing a new thing. Oh, backsliding daughter, wilt thou be, whatever. It's not whatever, but I can't remember everything. I'm paraphrasing. He says, a woman will compass a man, okay? In Isaiah, I believe it's 43:18 through 19, he says, I'm doing a new thing. Can you perceive it? It's just a lot of woman energy, right? So this is the rise of the divine feminine, which is why I'm like, God, what is mother's name? Okay, so let's get into it. The Holy Spirit was speaking to me about, when I was writing my book, Ground Up Self-Love Workbook, how to put things in a way that we can easily digest it. And the Holy Spirit gave me the analogy of a family for the chakras. And so this is also where we're going to talk about reflection, all right, and how important that is. So the lower self, the old earth, is comprised of your reflection. Hear me out. Comprised of root, masculine, father, I am. This is your identity. Sacral, mother, divine feminine energy. This is I feel, okay? Then we have solar plexus, which is I do, and this is divine masculine energy and the sun. Then we have the fourth chakra, which is in the lower self, in the old earth, the heart is broken. So there are two parts. So we're only going to speak to the lower part. So there's your lower heart octave and then your higher heart octave, which God gave me the revelation was, we're using the analogy of twin sisters, the evil and the good. So you see that the lower self is comprised of father, mother, son, and even this daughter, this evil daughter, we're going to talk about her later. We'll come back. Let's now talk about the higher self. The higher self, aka New Earth, 5D, okay, because the old self, the lower self, the old earth is 3D. The higher self, 5D, new earth, new heaven, is also comprised of father, mother, son, and that good girl. So at the crown, we have father, which is spirit. This is where our umbilical cord is reattached or reconciled. This is a masculine energy, and this is where we receive revelation, download. I am going to see what is the affirmation. Hold on. I understand. Crown. Okay. Our third eye chakra, which is our intuition, it's the ajna, it's mother, divine feminine energy, and her affirmation is I see. So father, mother, okay. Sun is your throat chakra, and it's a divine masculine energy, and it's I speak is the affirmation. Father, mother, son. And then we have the heart, higher heart, which is a feminine energy. It's I believe. I love, which is I believe. And it's, again, feminine energy. So you get to see how there's reflection. Father, mother, son. Father, mother, son. And then there's that feminine aspect. What is mother's name? So now we understand reflection, how those two worlds reflects. This is why God says, on earth as it is in heaven. On earth as it is in heaven. Okay, because there is reflection in both selves, the lower and the higher self, in the old earth, new earth, 3D, 5D, whole thing. So when we see our reflection, both higher and lower, and they come to the center, we know that our center is also a mirror. Our heart is a mirror. That's why God says, The heart is deceitful above all things. Who can know it? But we know that God knows the hearts of men. And why? Is because the heart is a projector, and in the projection, it is mirroring out to us. That's why we feel triggered by certain things or people or situations or whatever. It's because the heart is perceiving, the heart is seeing. It is a mirror. And again, we are reflections of each other, and it's coming from our heart space. The heart is a mirror. So when I was saying in one of my other videos that Christ received his reflection, he received his reflection, the Holy Spirit in the heart. Father, mother, son. Father, mother, son. Here, reflection, receive. Bam! It's like a whole beam. It's just a big old beam. So now that we understand, as I was saying in the other video, go back and make sure you watch that Eve received, the sacral womb received the child. That is where the Christ is born. The Son is born. In the lower self, this is when we heal the 3D self, the lower self, the old earth. When the I am, which is the root, you start to affirm to your higher self as your higher self, then Eve, the womb, receives the Christ. This is where your sacral is now receiving the child, the promise, and it's fulfilled. And that's where we bear Christ in our solar plexus, which is the sun. And so we're healing from the ground up. Okay? Ground up self-love workbook. We are healing from the ground up. And now we have the broken heart no longer broken, and we can reflect the higher self. So I also said in the last video how Lucifer, seeing in the heavens Father, Mother, Son, and knowing that Lucifer wanted what God had, he wanted to imitate, he wanted to imitate God. This is another reason why in the Garden of Eden we can understand how Satan came to Eve knowing and seeing that there was father, mother, no son. So he knew that she was missing something according to what he saw already in the heavens. This is how the enemy gets you, which is why I was saying earlier how they can, it's not from yesterday, it's from the day before, but I was saying how whenever you speak out your insecurities, people can think that they can play in your face because now they feel like they have an avenue. They feel like there's a door, and now they can come in that door and say trauma bond with you. But this is not that, you know what I'm saying? But this is also what was happening in the Garden of Eden, because Satan not having mother or child trauma bond with Eve, understanding that she was missing child. This is where we have to be careful about the connections that we come into. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be careful, you know. But anyways, this is how he was able to speak to that lack in her. And she really had no lack, but it was really the idea that time had not yet fulfilled, or the promise had not yet completed, and he was able to use that door. And you know the story. So him knowing that there was father, mother, son is why he's been like gunning for mother and child, because for one, he wanted it, imitation. He was ready to kill, steal, and destroy for it. He wanted to be God. He wants to be God, right? And not able to do so. He cannot create. He cannot birth. He cannot have a woman, like I said. So this is one of the main reasons why we see a lot of him coming for women and men and children. But what I mean by that is he comes for the family unit. So he's turning the men into women. He's turning the women into masculine men, and he wants to turn the children into confused beings. They don't know whether or not they're a woman or man. It's an attempt to destroy the family unit. Father, mother, son. So here's the other part to that. We already bear the cross. The cross. Your chakras aligning down the spine. The cross being the lower and higher octave of the heart. You already bear the Christ. The promise was already filled from the beginning of time. We already had Jesus.